Bowling Green Radio Sports Organization, broadcasting more games than any other
I'm ready.
radio station in the country on FalconRadio.org, WFAL in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Statement that was made by the Falcons this past Friday afternoon against Buffalo. The Lions, they also made a statement with the win against the Packers on Thanksgiving. The Jackets continue to win. And they continue to get better and better. And why are the Tigers imploding? I don't know. But
I've been listening to you, watching the same games you've been watching, but I have the nerve to say what's on my mind. It's time to listen. It's time to learn. It's time for All Andy Alfred. Starting now on FalconRadio.org, WFAL.
good morning, Bowling Green, Ohio. I love you guys, and welcome in to another edition of All Andy Alfred right here on your flagship home for BGSU Athletics and BGSU Volleyball right here. We are FalconRadio.org, WFAL. Hi again, everybody. This is Andy Alfred coming to you from the beautiful West Hall Studios on the campus of Bowling Green State University. As you're listening to us on the plethora of different platforms for you this morning, we have FalconRadio.org. We also have BGRSO.org. We also have the TuneIn Radio app. Also under iTunes Radio, under the College Radio tab as well too. And if you're a Time Warner Cable subscriber in Wood County, Channel 21 as well too. You can talk to me on the phone, and I'll open up the phone lines in here in a few seconds. Or you can tweet the show. It is at All Andy Alfred. It is at All Andy Alfred. And good morning to you right here. We're also streaming this show on a webcast for you this morning online. We will have that posted up for you guys tonight later on, so I hope you enjoy this broadcast for you guys as I'm waving to the camera right now as well too. So let's get right into the things. And what a statement by the Bowling Green Falcons on Friday afternoon as they took on the Buffalo Bulls at Ralph Wilson Stadium. As you know, I was worried early on in the game when the Falcons were down 7-3 at halftime. You know, I didn't think that we were going to get going. I didn't really think that we were going to get started, get moving. I didn't think that was really going to happen. But Bowling Green stepping up to the plate and getting 14 points in the third quarter to take the lead 17-7, and then getting that fourth quarter touchdown to make it 24-7, and that's how the game ended. Matt Johnson, 230 yards for one, had one TD and one interception. Travis Green had 30 carries for 129 yards and one TD. And Sean Joplin, 6 receptions for 149 yards and one touchdown, to say the least. Looking at some of the stats from this game, BG was 6 for 17 on third down efficiencies, and they were 1 for 3 on fourth down. Buffalo was 5 for 17 on third down. They had 15 first downs, to say the least. Total yards, Buffalo only had 236 yards in total offense, 221 passing, and only 15 yards rushing. So that tells you how good this defensive line is for rushing. And that's gonna say a lot for what I'm gonna say here a little bit. BG had 260 yards rushing and 230 yards passing, to say the least. And the Falcons led in possession with 34 minutes, to say the least. Tyler Tate with a 40-yard field goal in the first quarter. Sean Joplin, 23-yard touchdown pass. And I got worried a little bit when Joplin went down a little awkwardly on that touchdown catch to make it 10-7 for Bowling Green. But Matt Johnson having the fourth quarter run-in for the touchdown to make it 24-7. So Bowling Green improves now and gets the win, to say the least, and they go to 9-3 in the MAC, 7-1 overall. Buffalo falls to 8-4, 6-2 in the Mid-American Conference. So now this sets up some action in the MAC. Last week, of course, they had Akron beating Toledo, which was the surprise of the week, as they beat Toledo 31-29. Ball State 55-14 winners over Miami, Ohio. UMass a loser to Ohio 51-23. Eastern Michigan was a loser to Central Michigan 42-10. And of course NIU getting the big win over Western Michigan 33-14. Now it sets up for what's happening on Friday night. Yours truly will be in attendance at Ford Field, of course. It will be the 14th ranked NIU Huskies, 12-0 overall, 8-0 in the MAC, taking on our Bowling Green State University Falcons, 9-3, 7-1 in the Mid-American Conference. It's going to be interesting to say the least. Jordan Lynch, 212 of 329 for 2,457 yards passing so far this year. He has 22 total touchdowns. He's also led in rushing right now with 248 carries for 1,755 yards and 20 TDs. And looking at Johnson, 196 for 310 for 2,802 yards with 8 total TDs, to say the least. Travis Green, 235 carries for 1,422 yards. It's going to be a very interesting game. It will be a very interesting game, and I'm going to be on the air right now to give you my prediction. And I will say this. It was a hard decision for me to take. I thought, maybe it's going to be a toss-up. It really is. If BG's defense can stand up and stand their ground against this NIU Husky team, then I think there's a really good possibility that BG, and they stop Lynch from running, I think we got a really good chance. I really think we have a really good chance of winning the game, to say the least. And it's gonna come down to the last play of the game, I believe. I think Bowling Green does pick up the victory over the Northern Illinois Huskies as BG wins 30-27, in my personal opinion. And I want to hear your predictions as well too in a little bit, and I'll give you the phone number when we come back from the break. But in the Big Ten, what a way to end the game. Oh, we're going to go for 2! We're going to go for 2! Let's go for 2! If he would have kicked a field goal, it would have been close. I would have think that if I was a Michigan fan, I'm impressed. I'm very proud of how my team did against Ohio State, staying competitive, driving it down the field, getting the points on the board against that defense, but falling short like that it just breaks my heart. 42-41 winners for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And of course, the whole incident with the fighting situation and the bird being flipped in the crowd, it wasn't really good sportsmanship, to say the least, in my opinion. But I think that Urban Meyer and his club are going to have a struggle this upcoming Saturday night in Indianapolis, as the Michigan State Spartans come a-calling. Number one defense in pass defense, rushing defense, and also total defense in the country. They're going to run into an offense that I think is going to be unstoppable. However, I think and Michigan State with the big win over Minnesota, to say the least, they patent their win, to say the least. But I think the Big Ten championship game is going to be like this. I think the ride is going to be over for the Ohio State fans. And I'm sorry for you. I think the defense for Michigan State is strong. And how weak the OSU offense has been in the last 2 games, I'm a little worried if I was a Buckeye fan, to say the least. I think Michigan State will win this game. I really do. Michigan State is a really good team this year, led by Cook at quarterback. And D'Antonio has got a really good club, to say the least. I'm thinking the upset's going to be happening, and I think Michigan State's going to win 27-14 over the Ohio State Buckeyes this week. Other college games, of course, this weekend is this. We have, of course, starting on Thursday, Louisville and Cincinnati in the American Conference. Louisville 10-1, Cincinnati 9-2, to say the least. And then, of course, you have Duke, 20th in the country, 10-2, 6-2 in the ACC. This is for the ACC Championship, the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship, taking on Florida State, who is 12-0, 8-0 in the ACC, to say the least. That game at 8 o'clock on the ABC. The noon game, of course, Oklahoma taking on Oklahoma State. Missouri hosts on the road to take on Auburn for the SEC Championship game. That game at 4 o'clock on CBS. Stanford in the Pac-12 game will take on Arizona State. Texas at Baylor, of course, and other notable games as well too. UCF at SMU and Utah State at Fresno State, to say the least. Well, it's just going to be interesting to see how the BCS will shape up after Sunday, after Saturday night's games. I've been looking at bowl predictions, and I like this Jerry Palm from the BCS. He's a BCS expert, and he has this as his prediction right now. If it started today, if the prediction was like today, Bowling Green would play in the GoDaddy Bowl to take on Arkansas State in Mobile, Alabama on January 5th. I think that would be a good bowl game for us. I really think it would be a bowl game for us. But they would think that Northern Illinois would win outright the MAC championship game and play in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma State. You really want to watch the Fiesta Bowl if it's Oklahoma State and Northern Illinois? Now, bear in mind, it's a Mid-American Conference team, to say the least. But if you're going to watch the Fiesta Bowl, you want to have at least a competitive game, to say the least. And Lynch might be the Heisman. You never know. But some of the predictions for them, they have Michigan State taking on Stanford in the Rose Bowl. I can see that, to say the least. In the BCS title game, they have Florida State taking on Ohio State. And that's a really good possibility if Ohio State does beat Michigan State this week. Orange Bowl, Clemson and Alabama. Very good matchup, to say the least. Auburn at UCF for the Sugar. Really? Come on now. It's not really that good of a matchup. But looking at some of the local bowl, of course, being the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl, of course, and that would be Ball State taking on Pittsburgh. Now, I really don't think that's a really good matchup. Personally, in my opinion, I think that it should be, if you want to make that bowl game entertaining and enjoyable, why don't we reinvent some of the rivalry between Toledo versus Michigan? Michigan, an eligible bowl team, even though they've struggled in Big Ten play, they're an eligible bowl team. I would like to see them, and that'd be a home game for them and a home game for UT. That'd be a great setup for them, having the Little Caesars Bowl, their bowl game, to say the least. All right, looking at some of the NFL action for you, of course. The Lions, it was a great day on Thursday. The turkey was good. Shopping, got some great shopping, great deals. And the football game was good. The Lions picking up a victory over the Packers, 40-10. You know, Calvin Johnson having a good game, to say the least. Matthew Stafford as well, too. Had some struggles early on in the game. Stafford with 330 yards with 3 TDs and 2 INTs. Reggie Bush had 20 carries for 117 yards. But it was early on in that first quarter that really got me 2 quick turnovers, to say the least, for them. It was just interesting. It was very interesting, to say the least. And I think that, you know, this upcoming week for the Lions, they have to go on the road, and this is I think their real big test is for them against the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles are a really good club. They really are a good club this year. You know, the last few weeks have been interesting, and it'll be interesting for the Lions to see how they're going to do. And I still have that outside chance that they could be a number 2 seed. They have an outside chance to be a number 2 seed, to say the least. And I think that they have a chance. But if you're a Browns fan, we get to Sunday after a perfect Thursday, and you guys lose to Jacksonville. Gordon was the only positive that came out of that game. Whedon proved to me that, you know, he is not the quarterback that the Browns needed. He is not the quarterback at all, folks. They need to get something going. And, you know, it's just, this upcoming week for them, it's interesting. It really is. I mean, of course, you have the Lions taking on the Eagles, of course. The Thursday night game being the Texans hosting the Texans on the road to the Jaguars. But the Browns got to go to Foxborough. 9-3, 6-0 at home. They got to take on Tom Brady and the Patriots at 1 o'clock. The Eagles hosting the Lions, of course. Both teams 7-5. Be very interesting to see the least. You know, Nick Foles. It'll be interesting to find out how that happens. All their notable games as well. The Colts are hosts on the road to take on the Bengals. Packers hosting the Falcons as well too. Dolphins in the contention hunt for a playoff spot. They'll take on the Steelers as well too. Bills at Bucks. And of course you have the Broncos with their 10-2 record taking on the Tennessee Titans at 4:05. And of course the Sunday night football game being the Panthers and the Saints, and Monday night being the Cowboys and the Football Bears, to say the least. Well, when we come back, I'll dive onto the hardcore as well too, and get into a little bit of a rant that I need to get into. So stay with us. You're listening in and watching in to All Andy Alfred right here, a production of the Bowling Green Radio Sports Organization right here on FalconRadio.org. WFAL. Hold on!
BGRSO brings you bowling.
Now we're going to be taking a commercial break.
Thursday, December 11th.
So
The Falcons
watch my
will return
facial
to the
reactions,
Stro
to say the
Center
least.
and play in front of a home crowd as they